Howdy everybody. We're going to try a different way of cooking and another taste test of Apios Americana. We've got a family friend visiting and she'll get to try it for the first time. If she's up for it, she'll even get to review it, but that'll be up to her. But the main thing I wanted to start out with is I'm testing out one of my hand-forged knives. This one's, I believe I called it the bear tooth. It's themed off of an animal tooth, if that's not obvious. It's meant to just sort of be artistic and, functional, but mostly just an artistic design. But I found it is the least wasteful way to peel these hopnis tubers. I didn't get them 100% perfectly clean. I already know we can eat them with the skin on without getting sick, so I'm mostly peeling them for the sake of cleanliness, because I have noticed that when you store them, they store really well. I picked these in fall, and they lasted all through winter, into spring, and all the way into early summer. It's early summer right now, and they're still nice and hard, nice and firm, but the latex in them seems to bleed out and then harden up with any soil or dirt that was on them. So they're real hard to clean at this point. It's just easier to just scrape them. And I'm scraping them far more than I really need to for this process to work. But I've found a nice curved inward blade like this really effectively peels off the skin and anything under it that is undesirable. But because it is curved inward, it's the same shape as the tuber for the most part, roughly. So you don't have anywhere near as much waste as when I've tried to do things like peel it with a vegetable peeler, anything like that. I end up with a huge amount of waste food. This process, I really don't have a whole lot of waste. Of course, no matter what, all this will get strained and tossed into compost, and most efficiently, you'd probably just would throw the water and all directly on your compost, but somehow, some way, this is all ending up in compost. None of it's truly waste, but yeah, I don't like to waste this. It's not like you can go and buy more. You've got to forage or grow it. I have videos on that for anyone new dropping in. So it's a hard food to get. It was served at the first Thanksgiving, because potatoes were not actually found in North America pre-colonial contact. They were brought up the West Coast first, and eventually became a pretty normal part of North American food, but at the time, they were not around, which is how this got some of its other names, such as Indian potato, or things like that. I'm getting ahead of myself, so I took a little too much of a chunk off there, but even with a few mistakes, this has still been a much less wasteful cleaning method. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of these, though. Nutritionally, they're like a potato, but with 3 times the protein. They're a nitrogen fixer, so in the garden or in the wild, they're actually improving the soil. Just all around an amazing plant. Let me rinse it off real quick, get these last little bits. Like I said, I'm definitely peeling them more than I need to, knowing that my family doesn't have a reaction to them. I've heard some people say that the reaction that some people get that makes their stomach upset is worse if you don't peel them, but yeah, we're doing it more for the cleanliness sake. There we go. As you can see, that's really quick and not much waste. Got one more I'm going to peel on camera, and then we're going to cut to how I'm cooking them this time. I suppose I should have said this sooner in the video. Last time, I believe I have boiled them, and I have baked them on video, and they were both very good. To me, these really taste just like a potato, but with butter on it already. Like, we have not used butter in the recipes, but it just has a flavor like butter. I'm guessing it's something to do with the protein in them. Produces a butter-like taste. In the future, I will definitely make a slightly larger version of this, because with how fast this works, I would like a larger knife to do this job. So maybe let me know in the comments if you want more videos, more content like this, And let me know if you'd like a knife like this, just sized up. But it works really nice for this job. And at this point, it's more than clean enough that I'd be able to cook with it. I'm just making them all kind of the same level of skin on them. But yeah, there's the simple explanation of what I'm doing is my prep work for this. I may slice these in half too to get them to cook quicker. I haven't decided on that yet. But yeah, once we finish up with this, make a cut in the video, we'll get the cooking station ready. See you all in a minute. Alright everybody, we're back. In the end, we decided to slice them lengthways as well to make sure they cook through nice and thoroughly. Give it some nice edges to crisp up. So, gonna dump out the excess water real quick. I've just got them in water because I imagine they're like potatoes and that they'll probably oxidize. And I don't really want to waste any. To test if they do oxidize like potato. So I've just been treating them like potato, keep them underwater. But here we go. Gonna add a couple at a time. Fill it all in. If it's not obvious, I'm not really a cook. Probably all sorts of good advice that I should be listening to is don't crowd the pan and things like that. But, you know, they're all under the oil, so. Move that over a little bit, make sure you guys have got a good view of everything. Apologize for any messes that are caught just off camera, but this is, you know, the house we live in. It's not really like I film indoors all the time. But yeah, I'll keep them moving a little bit. I don't know about y'all, but to me that looks pretty good. As it cooks for a minute, I guess I'll just kind of talk about, you know, to me this plant, every time I work with it, it makes me really thankful. I suppose part of that's because, again, it was at the first Thanksgiving, but so thankful for everybody that came before. The Native Americans that shared these plants with the early settlers especially, but all the settlers that needed help. You know, when they needed something to eat, the Native Americans oftentimes helped them. You know, people throughout all of history, all over the world, have helped each other just as much as we've hurt each other. I'm not trying to make up for anything bad that anyone's done or anything like that, but I feel like we don't give enough thanks to the people that did help each other throughout history. So, that's sort of what I always think about when I work with this plant especially. Some people say that plants kind of talk to you and tell you about the past, teach you about the past, teach you about life itself. I can't say I'm an expert in any of that, but certainly I feel thankful when I work with this plant. It's delicious, nutritious, and really has great potential as a plant to sort of unite people all together. This is a Native American plant. This is a plant that was heavily researched by and improved. This is an improved variety from the Louisiana State University with the goal to end world hunger all around the world. And this plant, oddly enough, the only country that cultivates it on large scale is Japan. So as far away as Japan, when they got access to this plant, they started growing it as an actual farm, as a main crop. I believe there, I'm going to butcher the pronunciation, but this would be called American Hodomio, because they had a cousin that they called Hodomio. Again, I'm sure I butchered the pronunciation, but yeah, that's what I think about when I think of this plant. Let's give them a stir. They certainly look very good fried in oil. I did make them as chips at one point, fried in oil. I didn't film that tasting. They were good, but to me they dried out quite significantly when fried as chips. And they were quite hard texturally. Hard texture. So that is something I would keep in mind if you try to fry them as chips. They weren't bad though. These have also been called by some North America's alternative to the yam. Yams are quite invasive in North America. Most of North America, at least, has quite a lot of problems with true yams, Dioscorea species. But they're a great thing to grow because you put a yam in the soil, even if it's a little one, and then it will consume all the energy in its root to make a bigger root next year. Use all the energy in the root to make a bigger root next year, as opposed to something like a potato. If you don't harvest it, that potato will just grow a new plant and die, grow a new plant and die. Yams get bigger every year. So do these. These were, I believe, 2 years old when I harvested them. And I left plenty in the ground to grow back. But they get pretty decent size when they're the improved varieties. I feel like I should probably get these moving in the pan more, because I'm noticing I'm getting some really dark spots, even though they're not all getting quite golden in color. But they look really good. Far north as I am, yams aren't really an issue, though Chinese yams are considered quite invasive. So I don't know if they really are. I've never seen them here. I've run into a lot of invasive species from my area, but I've never run into problems. Here, this is probably the biggest piece I've got. I'm going to go set it aside and cut it open and see if it looks cooked. These will cause quite a stomach upset if partially uncooked. There's what the middle of that looks like. Quite hot, of course. Certainly different texture than it was raw. I'm not sure. Usually when I've cooked them, they go somewhat translucent. So I would say that that's still raw. Leave it cooked for a little longer. This might kind of be a fail, but we'll see. Flavor-wise, that's not bad. Nice crunchy edges. I'll kill the heat, let them cook for just a second more, but hopefully those are cooked through. I'm told that a lot of people say the real reason people get sick from these is because they don't get them cooked through enough, but we'll see. I don't know, that one I pulled out, it's not opaque anywhere. You at least think the edges must be cooked. So I'm going to call them cooked and get them out of that oil. The outsides are definitely overcooked, but hopefully that won't be too much of a big problem. I'm going to crack some sea salt all over these. Oh, they're squeaking at me. Didn't expect them to be making so much noise. I definitely overcooked them all. At least overcooked the outside, but really want to make sure they're cooked through. So we're going to let them cool off and have my folks come over and give them a taste. So see y'all in a little bit. Okay, we're back. Yeah, I definitely did burn them because I was so worried about them being undercooked, because normally when I've cooked them they turn translucent, and that's been my way of knowing whether they're cooked through and safe to eat. When you fry them, they don't become translucent. Let me break one open. They stay white and fluffy, much like a potato. Even though they're burned, they don't have any different taste than the one that wasn't burned. Texture is exactly like a potato. Flavor is very similar. This gets rid of a lot of the butteriness. I would say that frying is so far the worst way to cook these. Every other way I've cooked them, I've really loved them. These are just not even as good as a potato. My wife has already nibbled on some, scolded me for burning them, and she'd like to give her thoughts as well as what she would do differently. So I'm going to let her talk at you guys for a minute.
Well, I personally would still cut these into chips, just not thin. Still thick enough, like you would make like scalloped potatoes, kind of ish. Thicker though. And probably fry them that way rather than doing these in these hunks. If you did fry them whole though, like this, you could probably roll them in seasonings first, or maybe soak them in some salt water, and to help give them flavor. But otherwise, when you add the salt, it tastes pretty good to me.
Yeah, they're definitely not that bad. I wouldn't call them bad in any way, shape, or form. It's just they were far better boiled or baked.
Mm-hmm.
These are just like a very dry-fleshed potato. They're not stringy or anything.
Very soft.
Yeah. In fact, this one is even kind of springy, spongy almost. Breaking them open, there's no stringiness. It's just fluffy, like a fluffy, starchy potato. They're good. And they don't taste terribly burnt, or really at all. They don't taste like they're burnt despite their darkness.
No, no.
So they're good. I just would recommend any other way that I've shown so far. To me, these remind me a lot of how they came out when I did them as thin chips. They just weren't as good as the other ways I've cooked them. They weren't bad. Definitely good with salt. Salt improves them vastly. At some point, if my wife is confident enough, she should do some actual cooking with these. She'll actually add spices and make these more than just salt. She's a great cook. I'm more of a, okay, how do I not starve kind of cook, which has its merits and has its value as a YouTube video. But, that's her first intro on camera. She's been spotted. But, yeah. Hope y'all enjoyed. I will eat the rest of these and try again some other time with some more. We've got a fair bit left that are all bigger than these. These were the last sort of medium ones. So we've got a few pretty big ones left we could try to bake like potatoes or something like that. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something. Hope you didn't mind my rambling about all sorts of things. And I'll see you in another video as soon as I can. Goodbye, everybody.